In a quarter mile, merge onto I-285 South.
Come on, guys!
I'm Cass, and welcome back to Crafting with Cass. If you're back and you're ready for another DIY project. So in today's project, I'm going to be creating some cute, trendy DIY Chanel room decor. And I've done some Chanel art before in the past, where I've done a Chanel canvas where I use some credit cards and debit cards to add some special texture and create a unique piece. But I'm going to be using the materials from the dollar store for this project to add some additional room decor. So if you want to see how this Chanel DIY room decor turns out, let's go ahead and let's get right started. So for this first project, I'm using some materials from the dollar store, some black matte spray paint that I already had, some handles from the hardware store, and a Chanel image that I printed and got from the internet. And I went outside to spray paint the metal tray, concentrating on the perimeter of the tray. Then I used some of the floral paper liner that I got from the Dollar Tree that I've used in a previous project, and I basically just tracing the inside of the metal tray so I could get the accurate size of what the oval was going to be so that I could cut it out and insert it inside of the tray. And now I'm adding Mod Podge to the open base of the tray so I can add the floral image inside of it. And then I started to cut around the Chanel Double C's logo that I printed from the internet so I could start to adhere that on top of the floral part of the tray. And I add some Mod Podge to the back and the front of the logo so I can make sure that it's adhered really well and it blends seamlessly with the floral design. And to finish up this tray, I spray painted my metal handles black to match the rest of the tray, and I added some E6000 glue to the bottom of the handles to adhere it to the tray so it has a more durable hold. So for this next project, I'm using everything seen here except this pink acrylic paint to create some floral framed Chanel wall art. So I started this framed wall art by Googling and printing 3 Chanel perfume images that I scaled to size, and I'm basically just cutting around the image so I can get a good silhouette of the actual image. And then after I get my stencils created, then I look for some places on my printed sticker paper or drawer liner where I want to get most of the floral parts of it, and then I'm basically just using the stencil to trace so I can use that as what I'm going to use for the wall art. So then I basically used some white cardstock and used that to trace for the measurements so I could use that as the background for my perfume pieces. And here I am just using some of the inserts that already came with the frame, as well as my white piece of cardstock that I'm going to use as my background piece for my perfume designs. Then I start to add those floral print images to the frame. And after I got the floral base of the image adhered to the frame, then I used the original Chanel print stencil that I printed and cut out the middle of the Chanel image to add to the flower print. And then I start to assemble the frame back together again. This project, I'm using these frames to make a jewelry box tray. So here I'm using one of the inserts from the frame to paint the border of the paper using the pink acrylic paint that I mentioned as some of the previous materials. And then I decided to cut the inner bridge pieces so that I could just have an actual hot pink border. Then I used the 3 frames in addition to some of the pieces that came with the frame to start layering and stacking so that I could create an actual tray. And I'm basically going to remove those black tabs that are with each of the trays as well. And here I'm constructing and using the first level frame to add my Chanel image that I previously printed from the internet, and I'm just going to basically use that to add to my hot pink frame and my white paper that's going on the first frame of the jewelry tray. And you can skip the part of cutting the Chanel word and pasting it for a more seamless look. I just used it because I had already printed it and I had already cut it, and I'm just going to use that and create a seamless look by adding the Mod Podge. And I had some leftover half pearls that I've used from a previous project, and I just added that to the design as well, just to give it a little bit more style. And then I start to stack the glass and the other frames on the first level frame. Thanks for watching and check out these other DIYs on a budget.